I'm a bird? That's absurd. It's the silliest thing I've ever heard. I'm just plain Albert. Yeah, I'm just plain Albert.
Oh yeah.
I've got something to say about how nature should work in the natural way. In the natural way. We can check out the world from way up in the sky. Though I'm not a bird, I know how to fly. With a snap of my fingers I can be as small as a pea or as tall as a tree. When my pocket's filled with all kinds of stuff, exploring nature should be easy enough. So come along with me and be my guest. Remember, Albert says, nature knows best. Nature knows best. Nature knows best.
Oh yeah.
Nature knows best.
You get me? No way, dude. No way.
Hang on a minute. Who said
I'm gonna stay right up here out of harm's way. So don't try anything brave. I'll...
Achoo!
Hey! Yikes! Hey! I knew it. You crazy bird. You're trying to kill me. Yeah! Don't eat me, bird brain. I'll only give you bellyache. You'll get food poisoning, you crazy bird.
Let's just get one thing straight. I am not a bird. When did you see a tail like this on a bird?
Just because you've got a caterpillar stuck to your backside doesn't mean you're not a bird.
No claws, no wings, no feathers.
What about the me? Obviously not hungry.
What a loudmouth.
Okay. But try and see it from my point of view. Birds are the bane of my existence. They're maniacs, terrorists, mass murderers.
Birds?
Yeah, no kidding. Worthless, guzzling, good-for-nothings.
Whoa! What did you say? Worthless? I may not be a bird, but I know birds, and they are worth something. In fact, I'm gonna show you just how valuable a bird is. Let's go! A lot of birds hang out in the woods, which makes it a good place to start. Look over there. Starlings.
No thanks.
They strike me as guys with some sense and very particular eating habits. Oh! Well, I guess some people are cut out for the job and some aren't. Good catch! I'm sure it tastes great to him. Ugh. Worms aren't quite my cup of tea. It's understandable why a caterpillar might feel a bit nervous in their company. For birds, they are a delicacy.
Wow!
Mrs. Bluethroat's new family will make quite a dent in the earthworm population. Those guys will have to be fed by their parents until they're big enough to fend for themselves. And it's not just wriggly insects that are on the menu. Some kinds of birds prefer to have their snacks on the move.
Whoa! Whoa!
It might seem odd to spend your time running along a branch upside down, but this bird knows what he's doing.
Whoa! Ouch!
Now I am beginning to believe you're not a bird.
Well, I can't say the menu is to my liking, but birds seem to eat a great variety of things, and their portions are generous.
It's all very fine for birds, but what about rights for caterpillars?
Ugh.
Contrary to our friend's opinion, the insect population of the world is enormous. Only because birds eat them are their numbers kept down. Otherwise, there would be chaos.
Whoa!
Swarms of flies, mosquitoes, spiders, and caterpillars. If they had their own way, our trees would look like this because caterpillars eat all the time, and what they like most is juicy leaves. Fruit would be plundered by worms before anyone else had a chance to get to it. No. We need birds to keep eating those insects. It's a very important job.
That's your opinion. I have to spend all my time keeping out of their way.
Each bird eats thousands of insects a year, which otherwise would have to be eliminated by harmful pesticides. So just for starters, out of every 100,000 insects destroyed in a year, about 60,000 are eaten by birds. That makes each bird worth, let's see here, approximately $40 a year. That's cool. Okay, you can listen again.
I heard you anyway. $40. Ha! That is the most ridiculous thing I ever heard. And if you want to know what I think, these old munchers are nothing but a skinny bag of flesh, bones, and feathers, even though they spend all their time eating us insects.
You're really not fond of those guys, are you?
Listen, bird brain. I have to eat all the time so I can have enough energy to build my cocoon. That's a full-time job in itself. If I've got to be looking out for birds who want me for breakfast, well, I can't eat fast enough. Then what chance do I have of becoming a butterfly, huh?
I suppose I can't expect you to appreciate their insect-eating talents, but birds are worth more than you know. Luckily for our noisy friend, a few vegetarian birds exist too. Bullfinches have fat, stubby beaks just right for the job. They like nothing better than succulent berries, buds, and seeds. These berries are tasty. Now I want to show you something tricky. Watch this.
Whoa!
Here goes. When a bird has eaten its meal, it doesn't wait around. It flies off somewhere else. Whoa! Birds spend most of their time on the move. During the journey, they digest their meals, and the nutrients from fruit are absorbed by the bird's body.
Whoa!
However, the pits and hard seeds are pretty indigestible, so they just come out at the other end. And here comes the really interesting bit. The seeds in the bird's droppings are not affected by their journey, and begin to germinate on the ground where they have fallen.
Oh.
Great, huh? These little birds are busily planting all the time, without even knowing it. They just think they're eating a tasty meal, but the fruit is the plant's way of getting its seeds transported. That's what I call crafty. And since birds are also messy eaters, they drop seeds while flying, and that's another way plants get spread around. On average, each bird succeeds in planting 1 tree a year. Awesome! That makes each bird worth about another $12. If you consider how many birds there are, then that's a lot of tree planting. Just through their eating, birds can plant new forests, even across water and over mountains, wherever a bird can fly. And that's what helps keep the countryside green.
Oh, great. So birds should get paid for
No, you've got it wrong.
If I got paid for that, I'd be rich.
Let's take another example. It's not only trees that hitch a ride with birds. Hedgerows are started in exactly the same way. The interesting thing about hedgerows is, the bigger they get, the more animals want to come and live in them. Nice place, don't you think? Insects like the flowering bushes, and this makes the place even more attractive to birds. Plenty to eat for vegetarians and meat eaters alike. There are all sorts of nooks and crannies where beetles, grubs, and caterpillars can hide, or where a nest can be built. That little field mouse had better watch out, or she'll end up as dinner for the falcon. Ah, it's Mr. Hedgehog. I think I can guess what he finds to eat around here. Snails. So the hedgerow forms a community in which all the living creatures play a part. It's called symbiosis, and it means each member's different activities may be useful to the other, and the birds are the most important members. After all, the community was built from a lump of bird mess. Isn't that great?
Well, I wouldn't go that far. It's not as if they built it by hand, but I have to admit it's more impressive than most of their habits. Let me out. I want to find a place to rest after that trip.
Hedgerows are very important for the countryside. Farmers know that. They shelter the ground and allow the dew to settle on the earth so it doesn't dry up.
Oh.
And they act as a windbreak, preventing the good topsoil from blowing away. And under the surface, well,
Oh.
the roots of the hedge help the ground hold its moisture.
Whoa.
Whoa! Woo! Oh! The inhabitants of the hedgerow help out in pest control. Snails, slugs, and caterpillars are good food for its animals and birds.
Whoa. Yikes.
Ah, that's better. Now, if the farmer had to provide his own windbreaks, moisture, and pest control, it would cost him thousands of dollars. In fact, he can use what grows naturally from bird droppings to do all these jobs. Brilliant! I figure here each bird's contribution is worth about $50. And of course, a landscape with hedgerows looks nice. It's a relaxing place away from the stresses of the city, where people can come and watch birds. I think that warrants another $8 per bird for their entertainment value. Not bad.
Yeah, well, I've been entertaining you all day, and I've still got another trick up my sleeve. What's that worth, huh?
Well, maybe I'll be able to tell you when you show me what it is.
Okay, wait here for the cabaret.
We may have some wait. In the meantime, let's look at flight. So far, we've talked a lot about birds' eating habits and talents. But what's the one thing birds can do that no other animal can? Right, flying. How's it done? Let me try and explain. It has to do with aerodynamics, pivotal forces, momentum. It's much easier to show you. You need to be built a particular way to be able to fly. Streamlined shape, tail for balance, and of course, you need these, wings. There are various stages involved in flight. To start, you have to get off the ground, take off. It all depends on how much air you can shift out of your way and how fast. Once airborne, the trick is to stay up there. There's the well-known flapping movement. It's the bird's means of powering itself along.
Oh! Whoa!
Then, when up to speed, you can afford to freewheel a bit. Of course, it helps to be able to steer. And sometimes, it's fun to try out aerobatics. And to save energy, you can learn how to hitch a ride on rising hot air currents.
What?
Of course, man thinks he's pretty clever, but he makes a lot more fuss and noise about getting airborne than birds do. And he uses about 1,000 times as much energy. In fact, man can still learn engineering and design skills from birds. See all that air moving around the wingtip? Well, birds have a way around that. Look how the crow spreads his wingtips. That's an energy-saving device which man has imitated in designing new planes by adding winglets. This can cut fuel consumption by 10%. How about that? These smart aleck birds are even giving flying lessons to engineers. I think that makes them worth another $1 each. Okay, flying's an easy thing to take notice of, but we can learn even more from birds' other habits, like where they choose to live or not to. Looks nice, doesn't it? But this fruit comes with a price. Pesticides used to get rid of insects have also started to poison the local birds' population. Notice anything? No bird song. This garden may look pretty, but it is an exclusion zone for nature. No wildflowers, no pond, no weeds, nothing to attract birds and insects. Still, birds can fly, can't they? So it's easy for them to move house. But the more areas get built up, the fewer places there are where birds can live. When cities spread, this is the kind of place most at risk. The wet meadow or wetlands. To the town planner, this looks like just a piece of soggy wasteland. Wouldn't it be more useful if all the water were drained away? Then more houses could be built. Or an airport. Perhaps a golf course. Or yes, why not a theme park? No!
Whoa!
With the water go the birds. Remember that tale about the stork bringing newborn babies into the world? Sure, it's just an old folk tale, but it comes from a time not so long ago when storks were a common bird. When the wetlands disappear, so does the frog population, which storks feed on. And when birds leave, that should serve as a warning to us.
What?
Underneath wet meadows is the best and purest groundwater. So it's more than just birds we're losing. Man thinks he can take all the land he wants. If he carries on like this, what will happen then? The birds will have nowhere to fly to. And if we lose our birds, well, we lose our trees. And replacing them becomes a real uphill battle. No more insect eaters. Insecticides will have to be used to constantly battle the resulting infestation. As a result, the air will be full of chemicals and horrible to breathe. The poisonous insecticides will soak into the ground and pollute the groundwater.
Phew, it's not that bad. Yet.
Birds can not only warn us about things we're doing wrong, but also help us do things right if we take notice of them. So, back to the value of a bird, which is where all this started. The total for an average bird comes to $200 a year. And since each bird lives for about 5 years, that comes to a lot of money. That's the value of a bird in dollars. But money can't bring back a bird that has become extinct, can it?
Hey, watch where you're throwing that stuff. Bet you don't recognize me now, bird brain.
That voice. Caterpillar!
So, have you finished all that nonsense about how much a bird is worth?
Well, it may seem silly to you, but since everything these days has a price tag, it's worth a reminder. Birds are worth a great deal.
Listen, you think those guys have wings. Check these out. What do you think?
I think nature's pretty clever.